Aloha! Welcome to another episode of the Ascension Cast. I am Brian Daniel Edward with...
Naturally Fed. Hello.
So, very exciting episode today. We are talking about Fed's Winter Summit. I posted the link already in the comments. Just kind of we'll roughly cover what it is, and then we'll talk about you and your interesting past and history and abilities. So just kind of a brief synopsis of what the event is.
Sure. So the summit essentially is an opportunity to learn from 7 amazing speakers around the globe about anything that is to do with natural health and well-being. It follows the system that I created, where basically I combined the energy of the 7 chakras with the 7 principles of naturopathy and the 7 steps to change from a neuro-linguistic programming point of view. And so we kind of guide people through an ascension, as people go through the different talks. So it's a regular event that happens every equinox and every solstice. So it's for us to mark the passing of the seasons and to give everyone that support that we need, because essentially that transition time is always a little bit challenging for our body, for our mind, and for our soul. So we want to make sure that people are equipped with the best knowledge as possible to make this transition and to have make the most out of the season ahead. So it's a great opportunity to connect with other people at the same time.
Yeah, I love your idea. You've gone in great detail talking about the concepts of how it works, and it is just an amazing concept, an amazing program you have, and I'm very grateful to be a speaker in your summit. So that's very exciting. I love how you are also in sync with the seasons and nature. Back in the day, we used to be a lot more tuned into nature, and there was celebrations on the equinoxes and the solstices, and we lived more in harmony with nature and the ebb and flow of the seasons and tides of nature. So I love that you honor that.
100%. I think that we are so disconnected, because of I guess for science, technology, we have moved on to online so much that we could technically be sat in a room all day long getting food delivered to our door without needing to go outside for hardly anything, and we miss we miss the weather, we miss the sunshine, we miss the moon, the stars. All of this stuff is just out there, and yet we are not encouraged to go out there, because everything is available to us through this square box that everyone is looking at right now. And for me, I think it's just so important that we reconnect and we learn what Mother Nature and the universe has to give us. So with the work that I do is very much based on natural rhythms. So we look at the seasons, we look at the moon cycles, and how important those are as well. I mean, just bear in mind that if you just look at our anatomy, we are 70% made of water, right? That's why we have to drink 2 liters of water per day. So if we are made of water and we start looking at the tides of the sea, when the moon passes twice a day and it moves the water, could we not be moved as well? Of course it does. We are water essentially, so we have an impact by the planet, and we're not acknowledging these things, and we're not acknowledging our mood swings that sometimes are because of these magnetic fields that we have around us. We don't acknowledge the fact that our body pushes out and it detoxes when is a new moon, when we don't see the moon in the sky, although it's there, or we absorb more when there's a full moon. And yet people will probably know that the term lunatic comes from a full moon, because we absorb more. So if you take drugs, if you take alcohol, if you take a lot of substances during a full moon, you're going to have a much stronger effect. And A&Es, hospitals are much busier that time of the day of the month than other times.
Yeah.
So we are impacted, and we need to reconnect with all of this stuff. I think is really, really essential. It's powerful, it's interesting, but is something that we need to rediscover.
That's so true. So much of the natural ways are viewed as, wives' tales or witchcraft, and it's bleached out of our culture and it's no longer part of it. And we're in such an unnatural world. You're right. We can be inside a box and never leave it anymore, never experience the sun, which we need to produce the hormone vitamin D. It's really amazing. Like, we rely on the sunlight, and we don't get enough of that. Being outside in the fresh air, grounding with the earth, having our feet in the dirt. Very few people actually get their feet in the dirt. I love walking barefoot, especially in nature. But very few people actually will put their feet in it. And I have a lot of friends in the medical field, and they 100% verify when the full moon is out, people go crazy. Even if it's a very powerful full moon, I'll be up all night. I can't sleep. I will just be wired and energetic. And so people don't acknowledge that. The Mayans had a lunar calendar. The Hebrews had a lunar calendar. Even the female reproductive cycle is based on the lunar cycle. It's 28 days, a lunar cycle. So it's been bleached out of our culture, and we've been just kind of lulled to sleep into this artificial world. We've been plugged into the matrix. It's time to wake up.
Yeah, absolutely. So that for me is very, very true, and is very much at the foundation of the work that I do. And for me, when I set out, I've always been very much in tune with nature generally, and I remember just even as a teenager, going to the herbalist to get remedies, because I had some breakouts, and I was a great believer that, ultimately this stuff happens because of what we are putting in. We are eating food, we're drinking every day, and to think that applying a cream to our skin is going to be sufficient is not enough. I think it's because we are reacting to what we are doing to ourselves all the time. And Hippocrates himself said, let thy food be thy medicine. So let your food be your medicine. And indeed, if you're eating the wrong foods, you're going to have a negative impact. If you're eating the right foods, you're going to have a positive impact. So an income, because obviously it's an investment in yourself. So maybe that was the trigger there for me to say that. But despite my kind of calling to natural things back then, even with my training, as I became a naturopath, I still saw that there was a great disconnect, not just in terms of the food that we're eating, but sometimes also the medication that we're taking, in terms of the way that we feel, the way that we think, and sometimes even our spiritual, how we relate to others, the kind of how we relate to the universe, to things that are outside us. And, as much as I was seeing clients and guiding people through their nutrition and kind of looking as well at how you heal from illnesses and conditions that people might have, I still found that a lot of people were taking the advice and then going away and not doing anything about it, because a lifestyle change, which essentially this is what we're talking about, is not as easy as taking a pill. A lot of people are very used to saying, okay, what's wrong with me? This is what is wrong, and here's the pill that is going to fix it. Okay. Yeah. Now, if we want to step away for a second, I had people coming to me saying, I got all this pain. And I remember the example of a lady. She actually knocked my door because I got my address is advertised on my website. And she thought that I had a clinic, an office, whereas it's my actual home. And she knocked on the door and she asked, for some remedies, because she had some really chronic pain, in her back. And she had 2 crutches, and she was overweight, and she was finding it difficult to stand and to walk. She had a lot of redness in her face, a lot of inflammation, and she was asking me, what can you give me? What's going to work for me? And I said, I can give you a lot of things. I can tell you a lot of things of what you could take. But what I'd like to know is how you live. Tell me, what do you do? How did you get to this point? And as I was asking her questions, I said, how's your nutrition? And she said, well, it's not too bad. I only go to McDonald's a couple of times a week. It's like a couple of times a week. It's just like, besides the fact that, I mean, we need to break away from some of the terminology, because okay, so my reaction was, you should only go to McDonald's as a treat, but really going to McDonald's isn't a treat. This is this is the poison of your body.
Yeah.
So you're not treating yourself. And it's funny as well that kind of following this model, even my kids, when I take them to dance classes and fitness classes, playing football or other stuff, at times there's the coach, this is the coach, this is the person that is training you, this is the person that is giving you knowledge for your life, is basically thanking you for the great session by standing at the door as they're leaving the session and handing out sugar, sweets, say well done. And it's like, this is the treat. So you worked your butt off for the last hour, and now you're getting sugar, to just undo all that good stuff that you just did. So anyway, this lady, she told me about McDonald's. She told me that she did not exercise. And what was worrying even more was the fact that she told me that she didn't drink any water. I mean, we should be drinking 2 liters of water a day, okay? But I know lots of people argue with me, and they'll tell me, but I drink other stuff, okay? So I'm like, okay, what do you drink? And this lady drank 20 cups of tea a day, nothing else, but there's water in the tea, right? And I was like, yeah, of course there is, but water in tea, that tea is actually full of caffeine. Now, caffeine is a diuretic, which means that you're going to go to the toilet and wee a lot, which means that even if you put in, a gallon of tea, you're going to pee 2 gallons of water. So you're not hydrating yourself. You're losing, water from your system. When, as I said, we're 70% made of water, right? So if we're drinking less than what we're actually peeing, it means that we're going into our reserves, and it's really one of the causes of inflammation. So, this basic stuff, this is what I'm here to say. There's, when we start tuning in, listening to our body and understanding what the body needs, the foundation of our health is water, sleep, breath, and rest. These are kind of fundamental things, and just think, when was the last time that you had a glass of water today? Yeah. When was the last time that you stopped to think about how deep your breath was? If you want to actually expand your lungs at their own capacity, we actually use 10% of our lung capacity on a daily basis. Okay. So a nice long breath of 6 seconds in and 6 seconds out. The last time that you probably done that was when you yawned the last time. Okay. Yeah. So we haven't thought about that consciously. When was the last time that you slept properly? A good 8 hours sleep without interruptions. Yeah. When was the last time? And also, it's kind of just looking again at that water, sorry, I said the water, I said the sleep, the drinking, the breathing, and I forgot one now. But it's basically just the kind of like really basic foundations, are so simple, and yet we are deprived, and then we wonder why things go wrong, and for me, it's like, okay, let's go back to basics. Let's retrain ourselves. Let's look at our lifestyle. Let's make allowances for what is fundamental. Yeah, this is the foundation. So it's fundamental for our health. Yeah, and then we can build on it. And I kind of worked on this on my system, starting really from that, and kind of looking at what does it mean when we look at our human needs. As we train together, and obviously I want to use this as knowledge for people that are watching as well. We've got in neurolinguistic programming, we've got 7 human needs. And funny enough, I work with 7 chakras as well, which is looking at energy. And then we also have 7 principles to naturopathy, so looking at the kind of nutrition and how our body works and how we detox and all of this stuff. So if we start from our foundation, which is what we just talked about, so like the basic stuff from a naturopathy point of view, as said, when it comes to the 7 chakras, we've got the root chakra, which again is about safety, is about stability, is about knowing, where you're at. And that coincides as well with the first human need, which is for certainty. Yeah, so when we are certain, yeah, we know what we are. A lot of people get a lot of comfort out of being certain. Okay, and I was just like, wow, this just makes sense, because it really relates to the foundations of naturopathy as well. Okay, so you start moving forward, and I'll get to explain why all of this is important when we get to the summit, because we need to understand these processes. The speakers are lined up to guide you through, with their presentations. So we move on to the sacral chakra. The sacral chakra, in terms of energy, it sits around the kind of lower abdomen, so around the genitalia sort of area. Your sacral, is also to do with your kidneys, is our fertility center, is our creativity center. This is where we create. This is where our emotions come from. Okay, and this, from a NLP point of view, we look at the next need is variety. Okay, so variety is about getting the zest for life. This is about getting things that are really motivating us to go out there and get curious and experience different things. Is actually the opposite of certainty. Okay, so if we are certain, we don't like variety. If we like variety too much, we don't like certainty too much. So these two need to be balanced. Okay, but what is very interesting as well is that when we start looking at that and the energy that we need to work with to kind of move forward, the clue is in there. To move forward, we need movement. Okay, so movement is getting our hips to move, our limbs, our legs to move, and whether it's movement, whether it's fitness, that's what that second point relates to. When we move up to the abdomen, so the solar plexus, when we're looking at our energy, is all to do with the digestive system. Okay, so how many people have heard about the gut health and how important it is to look after our microbiome, and we are sorting out our leaky gut and candida and all of these kind of conditions that all of a sudden we are getting flooded with, through the media. Of course, is really, really important. Nutrition is fundamental. Okay, but this is also our center of happiness. Yeah, the solar plexus is where we are happy or where we are sad. It's also where we get our humph, our motivation, our courage. Okay, so when we start correlating that to the 7 human needs, we're looking at significance. This is, yay, I'm here, I got a voice, I want to be here, I want to contribute, I want to do stuff. Okay, and it's really, really interesting. Okay, that when we want to get significant, we actually need to get out of our comfort zone. Yeah, we need to put ourselves out there, and we do that by practicing, by doing. Okay, so we need to challenge ourselves, challenge our capabilities, the kind of the tools, the abilities, the things that we do. Yeah, and kind of put ourselves to learn something different sometimes, because we get stuck. If you don't, it's like people that live in a shabby home. It's like, you got the power to change this. You can train yourself to redecorate, to fix some plumbing, to do the electricity yourself safely. Okay, but everyone can do this stuff. Yeah, and then we move up to our heart chakra. I need to stop there 1 second just to tell you the 7 chakras. So the heart chakra is the 4th. Yeah, and this is the midpoint. So this is, your heart is the connection between what is physical and what is spiritual. Okay, so it's a very interesting point of conversation, because we've got actually a presenter that is talking about igniting that heart spark. Yeah, during the summit. So I think is a very poignant point to make, because it's important that we understand that sometimes we only focus on what is physical, the way that we live our life on the planet, but then we also have our emotional needs and our spiritual needs that are much, much higher. Okay, so the heart chakra, of course, is about love, is about connection. Yeah, it's about how we relate to other people, and is where we also express our gratitude, our compassion for people. And again, that is a human need that we have, and is really, really important. And when we get to that point from a naturopathy point of view is about soothing our relationships, with others, and understanding, how we deal with each other, and having that amazing tantric connection, even when it comes not just to sex practice, but to the emotional attachments that we form with other people. We move up then to the throat chakra. The throat chakra is very, very much about communication, and from a human need point of view is about contribution, because we contribute with our speech, with our efforts to change the world, or to explain to people what we're all about, or what we want people to do. But communication is insanely important, is insanely important from the point of view of listening, that everyone forgets, and to talk. But what is interesting for me as well is this chakra, the throat chakra, tells us very much about who we are. Okay, so who we really are is what sits between the talking and the listening. So that space in between is our ether. That's who we really truly are. And when you tune in to understand that, and you can speak your truth and be authentic and be your true self, to others, that's where the magic happens. That's when you can really turn your life around. And of course, there's a lot of stuff that we can practice around this, but this particular center, from a naturopathy point of view, also relates to our immune system, the thyroid, our metabolism as well. And this is where we can do a lot of healing by focusing on this particular area of our work. Then we move up to the third eye, which is here, the pituitary gland that sits behind, that guides our night and day sleep patterns. It influences so many other hormones as well. But the pituitary gland and the third eye in particular is all about intuition and growth as well. So this is where we do our personal development. This is where we push ourselves out there to learn more about the world. I always say that there's only so much that you can learn in one place. When you start pushing yourself to new experiences, to new people, to new places, you take on board so much that can actually expand your vessel. So what we say as well is that in nature everything grows. So if you don't grow, you're dead. Okay, so if we want to keep growing, we need to push ourselves out there. And of course, this is very much a human need, is the human need for growth as well. And finally, which gets me on to Brian in particular with his presentation at the summit, is the Crown Chakra, which sits on our head. It's relating to the human need for spirituality and connection to the divine, to the universe, to what is out there, to other people, and is very much about this spiritual energy that we need. Is about as well the kind of everything that we can't explain, because obviously there's always that element of spirituality that is, okay, who made us, and what's this energy that guides the world, and when we start tuning into this, we can really draw sometimes this energy from the universe above us, in yoga, in meditation, in lots of other practices. We can tune in and kind of imagine this white pillar of light coming in. So if you're feeling drained, you can actually draw energy from the source, and this is quite a fascinating concept that might challenge a lot of people, but yet, it really works for a lot of other people as well. So for me, when I started looking at combining these principles, as I just explained, it started making a lot of sense. And, because sometimes we go on a course and we learn, okay, so these are the things that I need to eat. We go on another course and we learn, these are the things that I need to do. Okay. And then I go on another course. This is the stuff that will make me change the way I feel. Okay. But actually, when you start combining all of these together, the magic for me has been phenomenal in seeing the transformation that people have been able to undergo, for myself included, just turning my life around and seeing that has actually rippled to other people, and to be able to actually get other people on board, as like Brian here, to actually advocate, within this system, for what they each are bringing to the picture, to the summit, and to the system that I created. I find that there's so much knowledge that can be included, because it actually makes a lot of sense to the people that have experienced it so far. So here is Brian. I think I think you should tell people watching what you're going to be talking about at the summit as well.
Okay, yeah, definitely. So much. We could go into like almost every topic you talked about. We could turn into a whole episode. I absolutely love that we're so on board. Your program lines up very much with my program. You have a very comprehensive program, which is something I'm going to. What the idea came to me: the 12 steps to Ascension. So it's very similar to working through the physical, working through the mental, working through all that. So you have a very concise program that just hits it all. And you have the different energy centers, and that your idea was the inspiration for Flames of the Phoenix for me. So working through each of those centers, each of those almost microprocessors, there's an intelligence of each of the chakras, of course, at the summit, I'm going to be talking about the crown, the connection to the spiritual. And I'm trying to demystify it, simplify it. It's not as complicated or dogmatic as most people would like to make it. It's always there. It's just we have been programmed not to listen. We have had it bleached out of us, that connection. We have been told that we need to go to a priest or a shaman or something to talk to God or the higher power for us. But we always have that voice of God within us. We always have that connection to source, or however you want to call this giant self-programming computer program, which we get to play in. So regardless of how you call it, whether it's God, Yahovah, Kalkua, Gitchimanatu, we're all trying to say the same thing in different languages with different understandings. And a lot of what I'm going to be talking about in the summit is trusting your intuition and also shamanism. And we're not going to be, dancing around a fire with drums and shaking rattles. That's a tiny part of shamanism. Shamanism, to me, through all my personal firsthand experience, is about direct connection. So whether you are directly connecting to source or the creator, whether you're directly connecting to the ancestors, to the nature spirits, to the elemental energies, whatever the connection is through the spiritual, and that's the third eye and the crown chakra, that whole region is about connecting to the higher realms and even the higher chakras. So the soul star, about connecting to your higher self, the divine gateway to connecting to source. But really the crown is the faucet. If your crown is shut down, none of that is going to be flowing into you. So we're going to be talking about some really simple, easy ways to spiritually, mentally, and physically open that up. Because down here we have at least three bodies. We have the physical body, the mental body, and the energetic body. And it's not working on one and not the other. You can't, eat garbage and meditate for 12 hours a day and think you're going to all of a sudden achieve your rainbow body. It just doesn't work like that. All the different bodies need to be worked on together because they support each other. They bring each other up. So even if your energy body is doing amazing and you're healthy, if you don't have the temple of your mind in order, that there's going to be huge blocks to move forward. And chances are, if you don't have the mental body in order, neither of your other bodies are going to be in order. To me, going through NLP and coaching and hypnosis, I have gotten to love working with the mental body. It's that whole teach a man to fish principle. If you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. Where if you hand him a fish, so say like a healing session, okay, I have your energy body, all good. Well, as soon as they run into any bumps in their life or any adversity, all of a sudden it can throw their energy body out of whack. So if they don't know how to maintain it for themselves, they're just going to keep coming back. That's, I mean, good for business, but that's not, I want to work with people, go out and, they can then live their life and even help other people achieve the same thing. So that's my goal, to really help people connect and work on that mental body, work on their spiritual body, and then they'll know to ask questions. Asking questions is one of the biggest, most important things, because once people learn how to ask questions, what questions to ask, they can then start to figure things out for themselves.
Absolutely. And I think it is very much about that. Is about awareness. I keep telling my students as well, because obviously this is part of the summit is connecting to the course that I run as well, and I keep telling people that awareness precedes change. So once we are more aware of these things, that's when we can start fine tuning, the people that we are, and making those changes that perhaps we need to try, to take us forward.
Something that just kind of popped into my head, I don't know if this is a concept that I had already, but something that can block awareness is the programming. So many people have awareness, but they're programmed not to listen to it. Someone asked me a long time ago if I could have told myself when I was first getting started, something, just one little piece of advice, what would it have been? Trust yourself, And looking back, as I become more and more aware of my connection, which has always been there, I knew, but I was denying myself because I was looking to receive orders from on high, or I was, turning to other, spiritual leaders and gurus because they know, whereas my intuition is not, no. I was chasing my tail because I already knew, and I'd get advice that wasn't applicable to me or wasn't really the best information for me. So I'd follow their advice and go, oh no, I'm going to put mine off to the side because they're the guru. They know what they're talking about. But I knew in my heart what was going on, and I denied that. I knew every time someone was, I could feel the people, and I just through intuition knew what their intentions were. So if they were great, if they're not so great, I knew, but I denied my intuition because, oh, don't judge a book by the cover, or, oh, they're the guru, they know what they're the professional, they know what they're doing, they're the expert, they know what they're doing, I'm just a lowly whatever. So it's trust yourself, And I wish that principle would have been programmed into me as soon as I started. So that's one of the biggest things, is teaching people to actualize their potential, tap into their intuition, trust themselves, actualize their potential, and see what is truly possible.
100%. I think that that for me the magic there is the fact that when you ask questions, you already have the answers. Yeah, and the fact that people are asking questions is because there's something about to happen. When we're feeling stuck, that we have to ask these questions. Being stuck is normally a telltale sign that we are about to have a breakthrough. Okay, so we're asking questions because we are waiting for this knowledge, these answers that we already have to actually materialize, to actually be actioned. Yeah, and I think that we are so wrapped up in the programming. I mean, the programming for me is the process. Okay, and the way that I like to explain that is very much the kind of wannabe syndrome. Okay, so we very much often live in the one day I'll do this. Yeah, I'm going to start dieting from January. I will do this next year. Yeah, and we are so wrapped up in the chase of what our dream job, our dream relationship, our dream wealth is, that we're not actually living in the present. Okay, so to give you an example, okay, but if there's this concept in neuro-linguistic programming, where focus goes, energy flows. Yeah. So if I keep saying I want to be a singer, okay, my focus is on the I wanna be. Yeah. So I focus on the process. I'm trying to do everything to become a singer. Okay. Whereas my focus, if I want to be a singer, should be I am a singer. I'm an amazing singer. Yeah. Actually, I am, the singer. And I can guarantee you that Beyonce, if you watch the early videos when she was training a voice in a lounge, the videos that she was posting, in a parent's house, she was a diva back then. She was not famous, but she behaved in the same way that she does today. She had the same, hey, here I am. So it is very much about the I am. This is who I am. You need to embrace the person that you are, not the person that you want to become, because I can guarantee you the person that you want to become is already in there, is already you. You just need to peel off these other layers that you put on top. Yeah. And there's a lovely thing that I read. It was in the Jay Shetty book that I bought my boyfriend as a present, and he sent me this screenshot of one particular page, and he was saying about this mirror that he found in a loft, and there was this lovely story around it that you can't see yourself in the mirror because it's covered in dust. Yeah. And all you have to do is to wipe the dust, all this crap that we have around us, to be able to see your true reflection. So you are already in there. Whoever you want to be, yeah, is already part of you. You just need to remove all this other baggage that you have put on top, and really, yeah, just go back to basics. So I find it fascinating, and yeah. Hopefully it has inspired some of you guys to think about making some of those changes. And I would like to really invite you to challenge yourselves by coming along to the summit to see what else as well as Brian, the other speakers are going to bring to challenge your thinking and to try maybe something different to tap into your true self.
Yeah, it's so important to live in the moment, like you're saying. Because when we live in the past, that's where depression comes from. I could have, should have, would have, but nothing can be done about it. So then we get sad about it. We get depressed about it. However, if we're living in the future, like you said, you want to do this. But however, if we look at the very definition of the word want, it's to lack. So if I'm wanting to be a singer, I'm lacking being a singer. So, the power of words as well. So when we start actually dissecting the English language and looking at the meaning of words, and it's really powerful. They're casting spells over us all the time, like broadcasts on the television or a webcast, literally casting spells with the Holywood or the Hollywood, the wand. It's insidious, the traps that are created with language. But when we live in the future, that brings anxiety because we can't control the future either. There's a lot of other variables that are going to happen. All we can do is make the next right choice. And 10 seconds later, if that choice doesn't feel light to us anymore, we can choose something different. So it's just being in the moment.
100%. And I think what you said there resonates with me as well in terms of the power of words, and the word that you actually put in there was spelling. And just think about it. It's like, what's the spelling of that word? What is the power of that word? That's what spelling is. It's casting a spell. So every word casts a spell indeed. So you have to be very careful about what you choose, what you're projecting out there, because ultimately that's going to be your focus, and indeed is what you're going to attract.
Where attention goes, energy flows. So if they can use kind of tricky language to get our thought plus energy going in a certain direction, it manifests, especially if they can get that going on a global scale through the media, through TV, through the news, through all that. So if they can create, everybody's collective consciousness, cast that spell over the collective consciousness, everybody's energy goes there. So it's going to flow. It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So
I can see. I think that.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say. I think that sort of my screen froze a little bit, but I'm back.
Oh, no worries. I didn't see it on my end, so it's all good. I'm super excited about your summit. So, let's hear a little bit about you. You have such an interesting past. You are from a little republic in Italy, or an island in Italy, and then now you're in Wales. Tell us a little bit about your journey. I just find that so fascinating.
Sure. Okay, so I'm from the Republic of San Marino, which is in the middle of Italy, but is not part of Italy. So San Marino boasts to be the oldest republic in the world. It's got a document saying that it was a republic in, I think, 305 after Christ, something like that. It always stayed independent throughout its time. And in fact, if I don't know how many people know, some people do, but Italy used to be split in lots of little kingdoms. And it was only unified through Garibaldi in fairly recent years, around 200 years ago. Italy became what it is today. But San Marino managed to stay independent because it never got involved in any wars or anything like that. And even Napoleon sent an admiral or someone to San Marino to say, I love the fact that you're so small. In fact, I'm going to give you some land as a present. And the guys in San Marino went, no, we are good. We don't want that. We are happy. And because they didn't compromise the landscape, the territory, they basically ended up being allowed to stay independent. So 35,000 people live over there, minus one who fled and ended up going to Wales. So yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful place. I loved it. I grew up there, of course, and I ended up going to the UK to study, and partially as well because of challenges with the fact that as a gay man, it was difficult, with my family, with religion, with society. Back then, we're talking in the prehistoric, pre-internet times, where it was very difficult to connect with people. Crazy to think, that was only like 30 years ago or something. It's just insane how technology has changed the society landscape, to the extent that even just a couple of weeks ago, one of my kids has come home from school, just like literally without a care in the world, telling me, oh, by the way, I'm pansexual. I don't care who I'm going to be with. And by the way, I'm asexual too. And I was just like, all right, okay, there we are. Well done. Thanks. Congratulations. It was just a blasé conversation, and yeah, I just think that it is insane, that we have achieved such an ease of information at times. But of course, we do have challenges as well, with too much information indeed, and too much technology. But I moved to the UK. I'd say that I've had a colorful life that I enjoyed very much, as much as it has been quite, I would say, quite difficult at points. I had different experiences in terms of relationships. I experienced domestic violence. Homophobic bullying in the workplace. I went from job to job. I changed a lot of homes as well. I moved a lot. But it kind of made me the person that I am. It really pushed me in different directions in terms of work that I've done in equality and diversity. I ended up working for LGBT charities, and then later on I set one up myself. Campaigned for gay marriage in the UK, and ended up being the first gay guy to get married in Wales, as well as back home in San Marino. So kind of flew the flag from that point of view. I did some work as well as I ended up being an ambassador for San Marino in Wales. Not an ambassador, honorary consul was the actual title, but in the diplomatic corps. Something that I ended up later losing as a title because I spoke out against the Pope back in the day, when not this current Pope, the one before, the one that was actually taken down, because it's the only Pope in history that didn't die. A Pope was actually taken down for his actions. But I did at the time speak out because during his Christmas message, he said that gay people were an abomination of nature, and they were blurring the roles between men and women, and the sacred the sacredcy of marriage. And so I just said that this was discriminatory, and that any head of state in the world should challenge the words of the Pope if they were to protect their citizens from discrimination, which of course nobody did. But what ended up causing me being removed from my diplomatic post wasn't so much that, it was the fact that I said I believe that the words of the Pope were the same type of propaganda that Hitler did, because Hitler never killed anyone; he just spoke out, and other people did the work. And in fact, there's a lot of other people that would take words such as the words of the Pope to that extreme had they been given the opportunity. So, of course, my Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs did not like that and removed me from my post. But it was something that I'm quite proud of, because ultimately I stood up for myself, for my rights and the rights of many other people that didn't have a voice at that point. But it certainly was an interesting process to go through. And ultimately, like I said, I just carried on, with my strong views, with my sense of justice and equality, in the work that I've done. And I just ended up being, very motivated, to change the world for a better place. But the one thing that was probably the most significant for me was the fact that I ended up not looking after myself, in this process. I campaigned and I carried on doing things that were very much important to me, but what I left behind was my own health. I didn't look after myself from that point of view. And what I mentioned earlier on, the kind of unhealthy McDonald's was pretty much my staple diet back in the day. I just went from KFC to McDonald's to Burger King to any other chain, because I was busy as a chief exec of charities and running around, living away from home 3-4 days of the week, and just literally eating junk. My breakfast very often was a packet of sweets, for the sugar, to tap into that false energy that I needed, to push through the day. And one day I just collapsed in the middle of the road in London. Woke up in hospital without knowing what happened. And that was my wake-up call. It was time to think, okay, something needs to happen here, and it needs to happen right now. I need to make some important changes to my health, and that's where I started the journey as a naturopath. I went to find a course. I enrolled myself, and I ended up qualifying as a naturopath, and obviously discovered very much, the importance of looking after our body, and what we were talking about earlier on, going back very much to nature, to our rhythms, to everything that we can do to support the natural processes of detoxing, of nourishing ourselves, of tapping into our emotions and turning our emotions around, having an unstoppable mindset, that can really push you to achieve anything that you want. And it's been an amazing journey, and I still have not finished. There's literally so many things that I want to do, so many people that I have yet to meet and to learn from, and this is why I'm so passionate about these summits, is just the opportunity to have people come along and share their knowledge with my followers, with myself as well, because I'm eager always to expand, the little microcosmo that I live in, and just to be able to inspire. If anything, I just think anyone that comes along, the feedback that we get is always, gosh, I didn't know that this happened, or I didn't know this is what I'm supposed to do. And or some people going, this is life changing. I've been able to get over health problems or conditions that I've had all my life, and all I had to do was drink water. It's just like, literally, I've had people that have been able to well, I remember one lady in particular, one of my first customers, came to me with almost chronic migraines, constantly challenging her.
I think we lost Fed here. Let's see if he comes back. Well, to kind of compound on what he was saying, absolutely. Being healthy is a lot more simple than most people make it out. And it's not about counting calories. It's about counting the chemicals in your food, eating real natural food. I didn't know that they ate the SAD over in Europe, the standard American diet. Um, about eating at fast food places or junk food like that, just don't. It's not good. Take responsibility for your health and don't eat that garbage. Let's see. He is maybe his computer died. But yeah, it's very simple. When I started cleaning up my diet around 2012, I was around 300 pounds. Granted, I was powerlifting. I was working on bodybuilding. I was eating 3 dozen eggs a day. But my body just tapped out and said, no more booze and bullshit. That's it. It's time to clean up, purify. And that's actually what my upcoming class, Purify Your Life, is about. Teaching how to remove the toxic food, the toxic people, the toxic chemicals, the cleaning agents, the hygiene products, getting rid of all that garbage out of your life. So Purify Your Life is very exciting. It dovetails right with oh, it looks like he is gone. Okay. It dovetails right with okay. I'm not sure what happened there. But that dovetails right with the Spark of the Phoenix and the Metamorphosis of the Phoenix program. So it starts out with Ignite the Phoenix, which is just kind of a little webinar to get you going, get you excited about change. And then that goes into the Spark of the Phoenix. I have that the 8th and 9th of January. Super excited about that class. I got a lot of the kinks worked out, and it is a phenomenal class that's going to be offered online. The booking link is posted in the comments. So you can go to infinitelovemovement.org and check out the workshops. I have now multiple workshops scheduled and ready to go. You can buy the tickets today. I am working on figuring out all the how-to online and make sure everybody gets the best experience. Okay, Fed is back. Then of course there's a summit with Fed. So a lot of exciting classes coming up. It looks like your microphone is muted. Can you hear me? It says your microphone. Let me, okay. Can you hear? Looks like your microphone is muted again. Let me see if I can do it from my end. Oh, I can't unmute. Oh, it says your mic isn't connected. Okay, a little bit of technical difficulty. We'll get through this. So the summit with Fed is going to be amazing. I'm very honored and excited to be a speaker at that global gathering of people, and we could use more events like that, because one person's opinion and viewpoint is good, but when you get a global viewpoint, all people from all around the world have a different take on things. So getting a wide variety of opinions and viewpoints is really helpful. So we might just have to wrap up the webcast. I am not sure what's going on. Okay, he's not even showing up in the bar down below. No worries. We'll have him on again if he doesn't come back on. So, but very excited about talking at his summit. It's in the comments below. So if you go to naturallyfed.co.uk/winter-summit, that is where you can sign up for his summit. He's going to have an all-day class. It is based in the UK time, so it in the stateside, it's going to be a little bit early in the morning. My section will be later morning. Okay, he is back. And he's gone. So my section will be a little bit later in the morning, early afternoon. So everybody sign up for his summit, infinitelovemovement.com or .org. You can sign up for the classes. So I have that up in the comments as well. So go ahead, book your classes, book sessions. We both do sessions, one-on-one sessions. So if you like what Fed had to say and would like to work with him, feel free to go to his website and book with him. He's a great guy. He knows what he's doing. He's really good at it. So feel free to book with him or go to my website, book with me. I am ready and willing to do sessions. So booking that out, getting classes set up. I'm so excited about the classes I'm going to be offering. If anybody has any questions, throw up a comment. That always makes the webcast interesting when we get more interaction. Let me check to see if he sent any messages about what's going on. Let's check in with that. Okay, his battery cut out. No worries. Okay, so he might be back in just a minute. So any questions about Fed Summit or any of the classes I'm offering? Any questions about what we talked about today? I'd love to see anybody ask questions, see what people think, comments. Fed has lived a very interesting life, and San Marino, that sounds like a really cool place. It's amazing that it's one of the oldest republics. Wales, the UK, I definitely want to get over there. Hopefully the world will return to some sanity and we can start globe hopping again. I would love to check out more of the world. It's such a big place. And everybody thinks different. Everybody has a little bit different way of doing things. Your hometown, most everybody has understandable viewpoints to yours. Either they are conflicting to yours, neutral to yours, or go against yours, but you know what they are. Whereas when you start to travel the world, there's points of view that just are outside of our awareness. So going to a place like this ancient republic of San Marino, I'm sure they have a lot of different points of view, a lot of different practices. Going to Mexico, especially when it's outside of the modern cities, you go out into the little villages, you go out into some of the ancient places, very different points of view, very different ways of doing things, very different sort of life. Even in Hawaii, there's different worlds in Hawaii. There's the modern world. There was the these people living a very lavish life and resort lifestyle, and just all the modern conveniences, to people that were living in extreme poverty in like third world conditions. A lot of the people in Hawaii live in poverty and third world conditions, especially on the Big Island. A lot of people do not have running water. A lot of people do not have electricity. It is absolutely wild to think about living in the year 2021 or almost 2022 and not having running water or electricity in the United States. Such a very amazing. And most people will never see that because it's off of the tourist path. It's out in the middle of the jungle. It's out on top of the old lava. Just amazing. I love traveling and seeing how others live, seeing other points of view, learning from others. Let's check to see where Fed is. Okay, he's in the process of getting back on. One of the things we talked about, people have to want to change. So how many people want a quick fix, a pill they can take? You see people at Walmart, especially 500 pounds rolling in the powered cart, and they got a pack full of, multiple packs full of sugar water in like the form of Coca-Cola or Pepsi or something like that. And they have Hostess and Ho-Hos and, it's just full of nasty stuff, white bread, just like ice cream, like all these things that aren't healthy for you. Processed food, TV dinners, microwave food, and their cart is just overflowing with this. And they roll up to the health food section and they grab a bottle of Hydroxycut or some newfangled weight loss pill, and they think that pill is going to wash away all of the nasty food that they're eating. Or I know someone that smoked like a chimney, but he's like, oh, I take vitamin C, that washes it out. No, it's about taking personal accountability. And it's not just taking a pill and that's going to make life better. It's smoking is unhealthy. You're taking a pill, vitamin C in massive, copious amounts to wash away the unhealthiness of the smoking. Well, just take personal accountability and don't smoke like a chimney. Or instead of thinking that some newfangled weight loss pill or some new fad diet is going to fix your life, no, fix your life, change your lifestyle, eat healthy. When I went back and changed my diet from eating the sad, the weight just fell off. As soon as I eliminated gluten out of my life, the weight just fell off. I went from 300 pounds down to 160 without adding any extra workouts, without cutting calories. In fact, my body is in homeostasis, eliminating all the foods that I was sensitive to. I cannot eat enough to put weight on. And welcome back.
Thank you. And apologies, the technology problems there.
No worries.
But yeah, and I was just saying, I think you probably have followed on from where I was at. For me, just having that wake up call, where I collapsed was very, very important. It was pivotal, for me to get to grips with what was important. And ultimately, you can have all the dreams and all the best wishes in the world. If you don't have a body to carry you into that world, you're not going to succeed. You're not going to get there. So we need to look after our home, our body. We only have one, and it's definitely the most important thing that we have, the most important asset. It's what has inspired my work ever since. It's been my healing journey, my work, my passion, my dreams. Everything rolled into one as I started looking into health and well-being. And it's just an amazing, empowering journey. And like I said, I find inspiration every day out of the people that I connect, out of the other therapists that, that are doing similar work. But equally, I make just as much from people that are getting in touch, to heal, people that are experiencing difficulties, because even that is inspiring for me to kind of look at where things go wrong, and to see how their lives change, and what and how they change, because we're all different, and sometimes you get to hear about people saying, well, I tried to do this, and it worked. How many times we hear on those tabloids and newspapers or Facebook posts about the latest diet from this amazing superstar. They've lost so many pounds, just following this diet. Hey guys, let's wake up. We're all different. Yeah, so it doesn't matter. What worked for one person, it doesn't necessarily work for everyone. Okay, it might work for some other people, but not for everyone.
That's so true.
Yeah,
when I was powerlifting, I was working with a guy. He looked like the movie 300. He was just absolutely ripped and chiseled. I mean, he was a professional bodybuilder, won multiple bodybuilding competitions. And I'm like, well, if anyone knows how to do it, he does. So he said, if you want to put muscle on, eat anything and everything you can. Like, okay. And I knew, again, back to that listening to the intuition, I knew that was a bad idea. I knew that my body type, being an endomorph, I could put weight on, I thought, at that time very easily, whether it was muscle, whether it was fat. I knew I had to watch what I was eating, but I just, with reckless abandon, started eating everything and anything, 3 dozen eggs a day, like almost 100 grams of protein shake or more. It was insane. I got up to 300. My chest was huge. My arms are huge. But my belly was hugely distended. And it just got to the point where it was rejecting it. No. And a lot of these fad diets, look where the money is. What are they selling? Oh, I'm going to sell you this miracle cure. Well, my biggest, especially with food and diet, everybody reacts a little bit different. I suggest listen to your body and see what your body wants. Some of the biggest irritants are gluten, soy, dairy, meat, and there's more like shellfish, nightshades. But some people might be okay eating dairy, but not gluten. Some people might be the other way around. It's important to know how your body reacts to the food you're eating. And my suggestion is have a food journal. So have the time, 3 columns, the time, what you eat, and then a third column of your symptoms. So if you're getting gas that night, if you feel very bloated the next day, you can then start looking, okay, I got bloated here. What did I eat? Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's the same food that does it every time.
That is true. I think that, I work very much sometimes with people that, or advise people to take and to use journals. But I think that, again, sometimes we need to have some knowledge beforehand. And, whilst we might be looking at, as you said, sometimes we experience certain symptoms or we get certain signs there's something that we ate is not okay. We might not necessarily not look at the exact problem. Okay, so to give you a sense of this, for me, when I went on my journey, similarly to you, I removed gluten, and I was like, wow, all of a sudden I felt less bloated, less sluggish, more energy, and I thought, this is amazing. And later on, because I removed so many other things, I felt really much the need to have something stodgy, something to bulk up, because carbs, for me, being from an Italian background, it was let's remove all the pasta, all the bread, all the pizza, all the stuff that was my staple diet. Not that I ate that every day, but it's kind of like the big bulky stuff, and I started eating rice a lot more and grains, and things like that. But I still, felt that I wanted, something more than that. And like I said, I just ended up removing so many things from my diet that I really felt the need to go back and get in something substantial into my diet. And I wonder, now that I removed so many other causes of inflammation, whether my body would tolerate gluten better. And when I went back to gluten and I tried a couple of things, I was not getting the same side effects that I did before. So I wasn't getting bloated, I wasn't getting sluggish, I wasn't, getting tired. And there was one more step to this, because immediately I thought, okay, so gluten for me was not the issue here. It might be something different. Okay. And the one thing that I as I said, I misunderstood was that although this was gluten before and gluten after other changes, there was one more thing that I did in that period of time that I failed to acknowledge. And it was that when I reintroduced gluten, in that period of time, I also went from eating just kind of pretty much anything that I could find in shops. I went to organic. Okay, so when I reintroduced gluten, the pasta that I started eating again was organic pasta, organic gluten. Okay, and I wasn't having side effects, so I thought this is fine, so I'm fine to eat gluten again. And I ended up eating pasta once that was not organic. Okay, just because I thought, I can't get hold of organic pasta, so I'm just going to eat organic pasta. It was the worst night that I had in a long time. Yeah, it was just like literally gas. I was just like really bloated. I felt terrible. I had cramps in my stomach. And I was just like, this is really weird, because obviously I've been eating gluten again. And, I thought that I treated myself, and now that I could tolerate gluten again. And so I ended up having to go and research, what is this what's going on? And actually, I started seeing some of the recent research that kind of looks at how we are intolerant of the pesticides that are being used in crops such as wheat. Okay, so my intolerance, my allergy, my reaction was not to the gluten, but it was to the pesticides. Okay, so it's easy to misunderstand sometimes, even when you keep a diary. You think, oh gosh, okay, so this is what I see and this is what I don't see now, but sometimes there are other things that you need to kind of look into. So what I would invite people to do, and this is an invitation, especially because I've got a gift to your listener, Brian's, for anyone here that is watching, in the whole month of January, and I'm happy to start it early for yourselves. I've got an invite for anyone that wants to join my foundation course, where you learn all of this, going through the kind of information that we have shared, which is also the foundation of the knowledge that is shared at the summit. So it kind of teaches you the framework, a tool of knowledge and resources that you can go back to every time that you experience any illness or any condition. And my course is basically you can start anytime, but at the moment for the whole month of January I have a massive discount. Instead of £350, it's £250. I'm happy to give that discount to all of you watching, for anyone that wants to enroll now in December or throughout the month of January. And really to get to understand all of these triggers, all of these things that can go wrong, all this knowledge that you need to have when you want to live naturally and really tune into your body and really understand what you can do to empower yourself and take charge of your health and well-being, because ultimately you are the person that makes the choices. You are the person that decides what you're putting in, what you're eating, what you're drinking, how you sleep, how you breathe, and having that motivation, that accountability to keep benefiting from this knowledge, not just because you've gone on a course and you're doing this for the next week or the next 7 weeks, but actually because you know that this is the way that you should be living your life. Okay, so I'm very much here to share that knowledge, and that comes very much from my journey, my learning, and the opportunities that I've had to connect with other people that have shared so much to contribute to what I put together. So if you want to find out more about that, in particular the program, the foundation course, you can have a look at my website, which is Naturally Fed, so www.naturallyfed.co.uk/naturally Okay, so this is the opportunity for you to have a look at the course itself. There is /naturally you, but if you want to just have a look at a webinar as well, that is just explaining more about the course and that system that I put in place, is similar. There's another web page for that, which is again naturallyfed.co.uk/NY for Naturally You webinar. All one word, NY webinar is where you can have a look more. Of course, you can reach out to me, Brian. I'm sure you can share some details later on about how to contact me. You can book a discovery call if you would like to have a chat. If I can help you, if I can serve you in any way, please reach out.
I have your website posted up there. So anybody who wants, go ahead, click on the link to join in. Oh, we did get some comments along the way. I missed them. We got a comment from good morning. Hello from Estonia. Magic Mike, eat real food. So thanks for watching, guys. It always makes it great seeing the comments. Go ahead and click on the link to check out Fed's courses and book a discovery call. You can talk to Fed about all of his courses, the summit. Come to Summit. You can watch me talk about the Crown and connecting, and listen to all the other amazing speakers as well. Any final comments? Anything you'd like to share with the audience? You're always welcome to come back on and come and talk again. But any last takeaway you'd like the audience to have?
I just would like to again renew the invite to come to the summit. Is a free event, so it's an amazing opportunity to learn and just challenge yourselves. Challenge yourselves to wonder. To think, what if this is the time that I'm going to turn something around in my life? What if I'm going to take something on board that will really inspire me to live my best life yet?
Excellent. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you, everyone, for watching. It's been great. Stick around afterwards so we can kind of debrief. We will chat for a second before we hop off. But for the audience, thank you for watching. Catch us the next time around. Look forward to seeing everybody again. Aloha.
Ciao, ciao.
We hope you enjoyed this video session. Please support the Infinite Love Movement by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel. Visit theinfinitelovemovement.org to sign up for healing sessions, classes, and events with Brian.